Chapter 355, White Endpoint, 6. 7. After dealing with the aftermath related to the Mad Warrior, I was left with a chunk of free time on my hands. I turned my gaze towards a corner of the world. You can declare stage clear at any time. Such a message was floating there. As I waved my hand, the letters scattered like grains of sand. And standing in the middle of the ground, since the world moves with me, I could only ever stand in the center, I fell deep into thought. Idiot, what are you doing? Aren't you going back to the lobby? Me, no. Suddenly, I thought that I, too, could fail around the 99th floor. Idiot. Me, I think I've become quite strong. Maybe, with my current strength, I could even compete with my master before her enlightenment. You, more than master, are half a step or more powerful, Sword Emperor. But even someone like you died on the 99th floor. I couldn't imagine what awaited on the 99th floor that led the Sword Emperor to his death. A point beyond my imagination. Anxiety sprouted like a poisonous mushroom from there. I looked straight at Bei Hurayong. Me, what's on the 99th floor? Can't you still tell me? Idiot. Me, if you tell me, I can prepare. I can come up with measures, right? Idiot. Well. Death. Bei Hurayong scratched the back of his head. Idiot, you have a point, but that's all you have. Me, what does that mean? Idiot, I just don't want to tell you the truth about the 99th floor. Me, are you really a child? Idiot, enough. Let's walk. Me, walk? You're a ghost, you can't even. And for the first time since I met Bei Hurayong, I witnessed something. It was a sight that was astonishing in a way, yet utterly mundane in another. Bei Hurayong, who almost always floated gently in the air, walked, step by step, on the ground. Idiot, what are you doing not following? Me, no. You, even without a body. How can? No matter how I looked, Bei Hurayong seemed to be truly walking. Me, did you get a body? As I climb the tower, you also gradually gain a body. Something like that. Idiot. You've reached such a level and still blind. I'm just pretending to walk. Me, what? Idiot, tisk, what's the use of talking? Just follow me. Bei Hurayong turned his back and walked forward. I followed him as if possessed by a ghost. Subset of, caret, comma, underscore 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 underscore. Mountains continued and clouds flowed by. The world was silent, and so was Bei Hurayong. I followed the silent man without a word. Idiot, that Mad Warrior said the difference between you and me is just half a step. After walking for a while, Bei Hurayong finally spoke. Idiot, zombie. What do you think that half-step difference is? Me, I think it's the heart sword. Idiot, right? It's the heart sword. I can use the heart sword, and your master also grasped the heart sword right before she closed her eyes. So, how can one awaken the heart sword and wield it freely? Me. I instinctively sensed that this conversation was extremely, immensely important. Yes, Bei Hurayong was trying to teach me something. Just like when I first awakened my aura. Me, the heart sword is the sword of the heart. Perhaps it's about imbuing the sword with the heart. Idiot, you've already reached the pinnacle of Infernal Heaven's demonic art. You freely deciphered Infernal Heaven's demonic art and even invented formations. In terms of imbuing the sword with the heart, there's hardly any meaningful difference between you and me. Me then is it a matter of the type of heart being imbued? Idiot, idiot. Dig deeper. Step. Step. I chased after Beihurayong and noticed something. It was far. It had become farther. Beihurayong's back was a little more distant than before. Me. The stride hadn't changed. There was no difference in the way Beihurayong walked. Nevertheless, the speed, for some reason, the pace at which the feet crossed the horizon, had changed. I quickened my steps so as not to fall behind Beihurayong. Idiot, most warriors spend their whole lives without even getting a glimpse of the heart sword. Most? It's basically 99.99%. But you're damn lucky to have witnessed the heart sword twice, aren't you? Then you should grab the clue to enlightenment from there. Me twice. Idiot.
Yeah.
Mine was merely an illusion, so let's set that aside for now. But what about your master? Didn't your master show you the heart sword for the last time before she left this world? Step, step. Beihurayong's back grew even further away. Still, Beihurayong was just walking with a constant stride. I had no choice but to increase my speed as well. Idiot, let me ask. Did your master have any internal energy left at that time? I recalled the last time I embraced my master's shoulders. The sensation of something that should not die, dying in my arms. It was a painful memory, but remembering someone was always a difficult task. Me no. Idiot, your master broke through the true origin energy, didn't she? Was there any energy left in your master then? Me, no. Idiot, did your master have any physical strength left at that time? Me no. My master had no energy at all. Idiot, right. No internal energy, no physical strength. Then how did your master use the heart sword? Why did the snowy mountain split? Did Mount Taishan bow to the leader of infernal heavens and split itself? Me. I gritted my teeth. It wasn't because my contemplation had deepened to the point of grinding my teeth. Rather, Beihurayong had become so fast that if I didn't run at full speed, he would disappear beyond my sight in an instant, forcing me to use my light body technique while biting down hard. Step. Step. Idiot, your master had nothing. Then. Me, he must have drawn from something external. The scenery rushed past endlessly fast. Me, if there's no internal chi, one must use external chi. Idiot, right. The logical conclusion. Clouds passed by, mountains and forests flew past. Numerous villages were left behind. When the two of us passed like the wind, villagers, who were strangers to us, were astonished. When passing through a village, both Beihurayong and I slowed down momentarily, but that was brief. As soon as the edge of the village ended, we sped up again. Idiot, what is external chi? Me, nature. Life force, isn't it? Idiot, oh, impressive. You managed to mimic Homo sapiens with such an abstract term. Me, this idiot ghost. Idiot, internal energy, in other words, is aura. It's the manifestation of your will. It's like taking the image you hold in your mind and writing it down on paper. If the paper is the world, then the letters are the aura. Then what is external chi? Step. Idiot, what in this world can be called the will of the world? At that moment, my tongue moved spontaneously. Me, constellations. Idiot. Me, it's the constellations. The constellations regulate the laws of the world. No, there are constellations that regulate the laws of the world. They are the masters of the stages, and if a stage is a world, they are the masters of a world. If they express a will, it's no different from the world expressing its will. I realized as I spoke. It wasn't that I spoke because I had realized, rather, I realized as I spoke. What was unclear and lumped together in my mind became clear as it was laid out in words. Just nature alone isn't enough to use external chi. Where there are constellations. Where constellations rule. Only in such a world can one draw upon external chi, and that external chi is essentially the internal energy of the constellations. The heart sword is about drawing upon the internal energy of the constellations. Idiot, right? It's only when you become one with the constellation that rules the world that you can finally use the heart sword. In a world without constellations, there is no will, and in a world without will, there is no heart sword. Bei Hurayong's laughter flowed softly. Idiot, in the world where your master lived, the constellation, the yellow dragon residing in the Great Lake, reigned supreme. That constellation was cursed to not die even when its heart was pierced by the sword of Constellation Killer. The constellations not dying even in death resentment defined the rules of the world, and thus, the humans living in that world became bodies that do not die even in death, ghouls, zombies. The villages became sparser as we ran across the land. We were passing through the densely populated continent and moving further into the remote, sparsely populated frontiers. Idiot, winter is the same. The eternal winter is nothing but a direct reflection of the imagery of that constellation. A world buried in permafrost exists, yet it allows no vitality. Zombies. That's the world your master lived in. Wish, wish. After passing the last village, only mountains, forests, and clouds continuously unfolded before us. Idiot, how could one draw upon the inner energy of such a world's constellation, the constellation's inner energy? You have to become more like the constellation than the constellation itself. I felt as though I knew the answer somehow. The constellation suffered from being pierced by Kim Yol's sword, unable to die. But my master suffered more. In the agony of not being able to die, my master was undoubtedly more tormented than that constellation. In other words, if you want to freely draw upon the power of Musha, you just need to be more obsessed with time than Musha. If you desire regression even more intensely than Musha, you will be able to freely wield the heart sword in Musha's world. Becoming even more like the opponent than the opponent itself. To use Hishmith Kritz's power as if it were your own, not by commanding it as now but to truly use it freely, you just need to become more obsessed with the secrets of people than Hishmith Kritz. That was the principle of the heart sword. To kill winter, you have to become more winter than winter itself. How far had we run? Subset of, caret. Underscore 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 underscore. The mountains flattened to meet the horizon, and the forests dwindled to lie flat on the ground. Only the sky managed to spare a few clouds. As Bei Hurayong stepped forward and I ran, the world gradually whitened. Suddenly, I wondered if this world also had an end. The heart sword is not a panacea that can always be used. Only when you truly understand that world. Only when you feel that world more painfully than the world itself can you barely use it. But if that's the case. I stopped. Bei Hurayong also stopped walking and turned to look at me. How were you able to use the heart sword in my master's world? That place was the end of this world where even the clouds had disappeared. Only the horizon. There were no mountains or vegetation. Only the base of the world stretched infinitely. A single line of black and white all around. I amplified my senses with aura, trying to widen my field of vision as much as possible. As my aura strengthened, my vision expanded leaps and bounds. I saw a world 10 times, 30 times, 120 times wider than usual. Underscore 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 underscore. Yet, the world was only white. It was beautiful. A pale vast sea of tranquility and silence was there. A border where even breathing seemed not to be allowed, or rather, a world of rest where one did not want to permit it. Expressions, voices, tones, everything, releasing breath, faded away. I thought to myself, someone would consider this place heaven. And indeed, this place deserved to be someone's heaven. There, Bei Hu Ryong's eyes were turning to look at me. Sword Emperor, watch closely. Bei Hu Ryong raised his arm. Sword Emperor, I'll show you for the 3rd time. His arm moved slowly. Sword Emperor, the next time you see this, it will be when you and I are fighting. And then something silently split apart. Underscore 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 underscore. I blinked. In a brief moment my eyelids covered and then revealed my eyes again. The silently parted crevice widened even more silently. It was as if the more the gap widened, the more it devoured and erased the world's time. Underscore 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 underscore. The white crevice expanded uncontrollably. It wasn't that the world was collapsing, nor was it being destroyed. It simply ceased to exist. It was deleted. It was being sliced by a sword. The faceless conductor notices the anomaly in the stage. The master of the world that was being sliced spoke. The faceless conductor immediately requests your withdrawal. The request for withdrawal is forwarded to the Wand of Ages. Approved. And finally, even the space in front of my eyes turned completely white. You are being forcibly transferred to the 70th floor. My vision became a jumbled mess. Blackness diluted and whiteness intensified, with all sorts of colors swirling around. My consciousness began to feel nauseated. My senses, perfectly adapted to the 2D world, were forcibly dragged back to the original world. You're being absurd. For the first time in a long while, another person's voice struck my head. It was the Wand of Ages. The voice split inside my head like thunder. Do you have any idea what almost happened? If you had cleared the stage, you should have quietly returned, and moreover, my goodness. A non-contender, an outsider, dares. I struggled to open my eyes. There was the face of the wizard, stained with perplexity and anger. You, the unparalleled troublemaker of this world. Despite feeling nauseous, I managed to speak. Because there are moments when, no matter how hard it is, one must speak. That's incorrect. Since there are 2 of us, rather than being an unparalleled troublemaker, it would be more accurate to say we are the only 2 troublemakers in existence. Clang! The wizard swung his staff, striking my head. Chapter 356, Return to the Origin, 1. The wizard, the Wand of Ages, sighed. I can't even remember the last time I felt astonishment. Sword Emperor. I can't see you nor can you speak to me, but I will tell you this much, there is a reason why you failed to conquer the sky-piercing extreme point. The wizard touched his forehead, as if utterly fed up. Considering he's someone who usually doesn't show much emotion, his intense reaction must mean the aftermath of the heart sword demonstrated by Bei Hurayong was quite powerful. What exactly happened? I shook my head to clear my mind. The after effects of having just hopped back from the flat world to the original world hadn't worn off yet. A sense of nausea clung to my throat, sticky and unpleasant. What happened? Yes. Something tremendous occurred. At my question, the Wand of Ages frowned. We were on the verge of a stage collapse. Collapse, you say? Literally a collapse. Some stages are the constellations themselves. If a stage is destroyed, the constellation is also damaged. But the ghost you carry around slashed the stage itself. What? Gongja SSI carries around a ghost? Next to me, the alchemist blinked in surprise. It was completely new information to her. However, the Wand of Ages, perhaps too annoyed to explain, did not answer her question. If left alone, the wound your ghost made would have expanded rapidly, growing larger. The true heaven world would have been sliced away like a piece of paper. There might be several worlds that could replace the 75th floor, but for the souls resting in the true heaven world, what a disaster it would have been, like being hit by a bolt out of the blue. The wizard glared at the empty air. If Bei Hurayong had been there, it seemed he might have slapped him. I can't believe what you did with your thinking. No. I simply trusted you all. Bei Hurayong, arms crossed, chuckled. Even if the world falls apart, you would do your best to stop it. Yes. In a way, I trusted your goodness. You should thank me, for someone like me willingly acknowledging your goodness. What does your ghost say? Kim Gongja, a second of contemplation in his life. Sorry for swinging my sword without thinking. It's good you at least know shame. The wizard scoffed. Watching him, my conscience should have felt guilty, right? Nonsense. Think about it. Translating Bei Hurayong's nonsense directly to stress out the other party might actually be the fluffiest thing my conscience has ever done. While we were talking, the alchemist was lost in her thoughts. Hearing that I had a ghost made her ponder, I guessed, and asked her. What's wrong? It's nothing. Just wondering why exactly I was chosen as the judge for the 75th floor. It's been bothering me. Fortunately, it wasn't a concern related to Bei Hurayong. Gongja SSI. Could you tell me about the judges before me, and what kind of stages they were responsible for? Since it wasn't a difficult request, I carefully explained. The alchemist's eyes, even behind thick lenses, visibly darkened. I see. The alchemist murmured. Gongja SSI. If I die, I will go to the true heaven world. What? That's exactly the criterion for a judge. Where one goes after death, to which heaven? My eyes widened. Conversely, the alchemist narrowed hers. Think about it. The world Crusader Nim judged was said to be the heaven of music, right? Yes. That's correct, but Crusader Nim is of course an expert in music. So, it makes sense she was in charge of the musical heaven. Yes, but if that's the case, the world I should have been called to judge would naturally be the medicine heaven. My expertise is, after all, medicine. The alchemist whispered in a soft voice. But the place I was actually assigned to was the true heaven. Completely unrelated to my field of expertise, you see. Especially since not lying is not my forte, nor do I have specialized knowledge about two-dimensional planes. So, who becomes a judge isn't decided by whether they're an expert or not. Absolutely not. Indeed. I, too, narrowed my eyes slightly, following the alchemist's line of reasoning. If the crusader were to die, she would reincarnate in the musical heaven. If the count dies, she goes to the golden heaven. If the venomous snake dies, he goes to the martial heaven, and if the heretic questioner dies, he goes to the judicial heaven. Anne. Yes. If I die, it would be the true heaven. The alchemist nodded. While Gongja Ssi was conquering the stage, I wondered. If I were to die and go to the afterlife, which post-life world would I wish for? It was hard to imagine, but I concluded I want to go to a world where I don't need to worry about what others are really thinking in human relationships. I see. Yes. That was it. Therefore, the true heaven would be the afterlife world I wish to go to. I turned my gaze away. The alchemist looked in the same direction I did. There, the Wand of Ages was silently accepting our gazes. Is that true? Yes. Right. You've hit the mark. The wizard answered quite refreshingly. The Wand of Ages acknowledges your pursuit of truth as correct. You have uncovered the information hidden by the Wand of Ages. A message appeared to confirm it. How considerate. Originally, when you reached the 79th floor, I planned to reveal all the heavens you've experienced so far blah blah, trying to give off a final boss vibe. The wizard looked as though he had lost a toy he had been saving in secret. But you figured it out much faster than I thought. Ha! The thrill of surprising you is gone. Is the heaven I'll go to when I die also predetermined? The wizard smiled knowingly, a glint in his eye. That's a question I can't rashly answer. It's not something I can decide. Anyway, you said you were an alchemist, right? You've done well. Now, off you go. As the wizard tapped the floor with his staff, the ground beneath the alchemist rippled like a swamp. She was being forcibly recalled. The alchemist floundered as she fell through the floor. Me. Go, Gongja Ssi. Cheer up. Fighting. I've heard I'll forget about this incident, but Gongja Ssi, you will remember. Yes. I smiled and sent the alchemist off. I look forward to the special potion you'll develop next time. Plunk dash. In an instant, the alchemist's figure disappeared below the ground. Only a ripple of white remained where she had vanished, quickly settling down. A moment later, the 70th floor lobby was surrounded by a desolate white. Stages only I will remember. Nothing new, really. I shrugged my shoulders and turned back to the wizard. All right. So, who's the next judge? Anastasia? Marcus Nim? Considering only the best hunters have been summoned so far, rank must be included in the criteria for selecting judges. More precisely, it's chosen among those who have a deep connection with you. Then, Aberka? Or maybe, Raviol. Both have deep ties with you. But neither wishes for an afterlife. Death King. The wizard tapped the floor again with his staff. The judge evaluating you this time might be a bit tricky. Whoosh. Centered around the tip of the staff, light bloomed. At a closer look, the shape of the blooming light resembled a lotus. As the neatly arranged lotus petals split open, the silhouette of a person flickered between the beams of light. What's this? Just like the people who had been summoned as judges before, this figure was also very familiar. There were a few people whom I thought wouldn't forget even after I died, and he was one of them. It wasn't in a good way. Summon? Is this what they call a summoning? Some morally bankrupt guy summoning someone who's just trying to make a living, what the hell? Let's at least have the decency to greet each other. What's this? Are my eyes deceiving me? It seems like the epitome of a scholar, famous enough to be synonymous with the term, is standing before me. Well, who else but you would summon me? My bad for not realizing sooner. So, what is it this time? You want me to dance again? I murmured the name of the man summoned as the new judge while covering my forehead with my palm.
Yo! So? Ha!
That is indeed my name. Of all people, why him? Too. My head throbbed. He was indeed a most fitting person to be summoned as someone deeply connected to me. Why are you here causing a fuss? Huh? I don't see why you're asking me. You're the one who summoned me.
Yo! So? Ha!
Narrowed his brows. His sharp yet bold eyebrows furrowed elegantly. Wait, hold on. Hey. I thought I was done living in your shadow. I can still be summoned to you? Is this even legal?
Yo! So? Ha!
Had long since been released from being a summoned spirit under 100 Ghosts reincarnation. Through the skill, the Earthbone Dragon's skull, I acquired from the Tower Master, he had obtained a new body. He must have thought his days of being summoned and following my orders were over, so it's no surprise he frowned at being summoned out of the blue. Damn it. Stop using me already. I'm trying to live my life anew. Don't you see what I'm wearing? This is my part-time job uniform. I was working at a planetarium before you summoned me, part-time.
Yo! So? Ha!
Seemed to mistake that I had performed the summoning. Perhaps he thought he might be ordered to perform some ridiculous dance again. He started to elaborate on his pitiful situation in a rather desperate tone. After my shift, I have to go to Chenmumun. Because you shoved me into becoming a disciple there, you have any idea how hard I've been slaving away? If you had any conscience. Scared? What? Are you scared I might make you do something weird? This guy.
Yo! So? Ha!
Grimaced. Now you're rank 2 among hunters, have the rank 1 hunter as your personal bodyguard, are friends with all the big guild leaders, and married the most beautiful person in the world, and you see me as nothing more than water? Shit.
Yo! So? Ha!
Seemed to begrudgingly accept that he could indeed be seen as mere H2O. Anyway, I'm not the one who summoned you this time. Then? It's a long story. I went into the lengthy explanation about how I was currently breaking through floors 70-79. To breach this sector, it wasn't enough for just me to be good, approval from the selected judge was necessary. And, regrettably, this time it was you who were chosen.
Yo! So? Ha!
Crossed his arms. Before hearing the story, a slight unease flickered between his eyebrows, but now it had disappeared entirely. His dark eyes scanned me from head to toe, inscrutable. So, to summarize what you've said. To move on to the next floor, I absolutely have to approve, right? Right. I can sit here for 10 years, 100 years, doesn't matter, and watch you fumble around on the stage? Yes. And even between the stage there and me here, the flow of time can be applied differently, so if I wish, I could rapidly skip through long periods?
Yo! So? Ha!
S. prying manner conveyed a strong sense of unease, but I couldn't just blatantly lie and be caught. Even if I didn't answer, the Wand of Ages would explain anyway. Yes. Indeed. There's your answer.
Yo! So? Ha!
Smiled wickedly. It was a devilish grin. First, let's see you dance. Kim Gongja. What? But of course, by dance, I mean the dance I did. That dance. The Cossack dance or whatever it was. You know the one. You're the one who ordered it, after all. Let's start by assessing your dancing skills. We can talk about the stage after that. Hey. What? You won't dance? If you don't want to dance, fine. Let's casually start with 100 years. Even if you're some monstrous guy, being trapped on the same stage for 100, 200 years, you'd eventually feel like dancing, right? Don't you think? Hey. Of course, I don't plan to stop after just one dance. That would be disappointing. Then. We have quite a lot of unresolved feelings between us, don't we, Kim Gongja SSI? Damn you, you bastard. Chapter 357, Return to the Origin, 2. I shouted valiantly. How could you do this to me? There must be hundreds of reasons I could do this, you bastard.
Yo. So? Ha!
Didn't even flutter his eyelashes once. I shuddered. Is this guy, by any chance, a person without blood, tears, or conscience? In other words.
Yo. So? Ha! Yo. So? Ha!
I found you a job at Cafe Planetarium.
Uh.
I'm so overwhelmingly grateful, touched even, but I've never held any grudge. I gifted you the position of disciple to the master of Chenmumun. Thanks to you, every muscle in my body is grinning ear to ear, tearing apart with joy every dawn and night. Thank you so much. I gave you back your life. Snap out of it. Open your eyes. And if my memory hasn't degraded, the one who originally killed me was you. Fucking bastard. You heartless, tearless, conscienceless fuck. Right now, my mental state couldn't be clearer, and my eyes are damn bright and alert. If you argue that way, you were the one who first tried to kill me at the second-floor hunting ground. No, before I regressed, I was actually murdered. If we went to court, the judge, the court clerks, the jurors, and the news reporters would all stand up to acknowledge my innocence and your brutality. Change. I wrapped my hands around my head and moaned toward the wand of ages. Judge, change, please. No. Only a cold reply seeped into my ears. It won't happen. Death King. The fates of this tower favor you, but sometimes they want to screw you over as well. Even if I didn't intend it. Well, think of it as the price for the mess you made on the 75th floor. Impossible. There's no way.
Yo. So? Ha!
Is the person I have the deepest connection with. What about a burqa? Logically, it should be my son's turn first. Isn't it? The musclehead who dreams of sinning against heaven doesn't go to the afterlife. Why not? Is it discrimination against goblins? The tower, even the tower master who vowed to give everyone a second chance, are you ignoring and looking down on our goblin children? No. It's just that, musclehead, thinks it's cool to end when they die. What's the need for an afterlife? Damn it, a burqa. Who raised you to become such a cool? A burqa. Your father is here, crying out your name in agony, can't you hear it? R.A. Raviel. Yes. I have my love. I hung on to the last hope. It makes no sense for Raviel not to be the judge. This is invalid. Bring me my duke at once. The silver-plated heart is. That name was stripped, wasn't it, right? Anyway, Duke Ivantia doesn't want the afterlife unless it's with you. Memories with you are far more important than any afterlife. Raviel. I feel the same. How delightful. But considering that delight results in a psychopathic ponytail male jerk jibber-jabbering right in front of me within a 2m range, why does my heart feel so terribly troubled? Are we done talking? So, when will you dance? Shut
up.
Fine. I'll accept the judge selection as is. I lifted my head. My face was as solid as a rock. But I will never dance.
Yo. So. Ha.
Huh? Didn't you hear what I said? If you don't dance, I will never stamp the approval. Never, ever. Don't stamp it. What? Do whatever you want. You'll end up stamping it anyway.
Yo. So. Ha.
Wore a look of disbelief. Hey, this is a funny. Do you think you're so special that I'd stamp the approval for you? Because at first, you watch me with the thought of let's see how far you can go and soon get bored, speeding things up, but seeing that I remain unchanged, you feel that the boredom and dullness of this moment far outweigh any desire for revenge on me, so about 2 days later, you'll have a moment of realization. What kind of idiotic thing am I doing? Let's just go back and decide to cut off your interest with a pass, whether you pass or screw around, I don't care.
Yo. So. Ha.
Blinked his eyes. That's exactly me. Right. So, there will never be a day when I dance. Wake up from your dream. No. Why do you know my inner thoughts so well, in such an unpleasant way? Who knows? Maybe it's because I once thoroughly stirred your guts. In some ways, I have to be more familiar with your inner thoughts than you are. You fucking bastard. There was no more business with the ponytail man who wasn't complete without cursing at the end of every sentence. I turned my head and looked at the Wand of Ages. Please send me to the next stage as soon as possible. After all, I'm just going to kill time there. Did you say this judge would be tricky? You're mistaken. I'll just go to the 76th floor and numb my sense of time. Making a week feel like a second, and a year feel like a minute. Before I know it, the stage will be cleared. How about that? Wizard. My victory is now clear. Remarkable. The wizard said to me, either in admiration or in horror. You really are amazing. I'll take that as a compliment. The Wand of Ages transports you. Receiving a chilly gaze from the two, I was moved to the next floor. 3. You have entered the 76th stage. You step into a place where you originally could not enter. What I said to the wizard wasn't a lie. It was true. As soon as the white light vanished and my toes touched the ground of the new stage, I thought to numb my sense of time. Isn't it obvious? I knew exactly what kind of person
Yo. So. Ha.
Was and how to get past his temper without trouble. Snake. Before getting into the serious business of playing with time, I wanted to find out what kind of heaven this was. Let's start with gathering information. SSS. The Faithful Strategy Guide, Snake, flicked its tongue. The eye living in the labyrinth exerts its authority. Information on the current stage is revealed to you. Texts curled up before my eyes. Plus. View Heaven World. Floor, 76th. Constellation, the lotus reflected on the water. Difficulty, C+. Explanation, LV.1 Everyone in this world sees you just as you wish to be seen. You control everyone's gaze. Want to be seen as an attractive beauty? So you shall. Want to appear as a wealthy individual with vast fortunes? That's how you will be seen. All you need is to wish how you want to be perceived by others, No further effort is required on your part. You gain infinite freedom regarding yourself. However, you gain not a single right concerning others. You cannot decide how to view others. You can only see them as they wish to be seen. Plus, the texts continued downwards. I read the information and couldn't help but chuckle. Looks like a heaven.
Yo. So. Ha.
Would enjoy. The first thought that came to mind was that if I had to pick one heaven that suited.
Yo. So. Ha.
This place wouldn't be too bad. Okay, Snake. Hurry and unveil the rest of the hidden information. But the moment I was about to command Hishmith crits, a completely different idea from my first thought flashed through my mind. It was a kind of suspicion. Wait a minute. I paused. Heaven? A heaven that suits.
Yo. So. Ha.
Something bothered me. It felt as if I had suddenly bitten into an eggshell in my well-enjoyed egg rice, an uncomfortable feeling. Keek? Hishmith crits tilted its head, seeing me suddenly stop talking. However, my mouth remained silent. Opposite to my sealed lips and halted tongue, my doubts were spinning faster and faster. Suddenly, I remembered what the alchemist had said before leaving the 70th floor. That's exactly the standard of judgment. What kind of heaven you will go to after death, you see. That's correct. Meaning, if
Yo. So. Ha.
were to die, he would reincarnate, considering this world as heaven, hence this stage's judge role went to.
Yo. So. Ha.
There's nothing strange so far. What exactly is bothering me? Why does my instinct feel so uncomfortable? What about a burqa? The musclehead who dreams of sinning against heaven doesn't go to the afterlife. The conversation I had jokingly shared with the wizard just before snapped in my head. Why? No. It's just that musclehead thinks it's cool to end when they die. What's the need for an afterlife? I could feel my eyes narrowing. By narrowing the field of view, I reduced external stimuli. With unnecessary information blocked, my thoughts in my head soared even more. Raviel not being the judge doesn't make sense. Suddenly, Duke Ivantia doesn't desire the afterlife unless it's with you. I murmured unknowingly. This can't be.
Yo. So. Ha.
Heaven. Key? The snake lifted its chin to look up at me. It seemed to have misunderstood that I was speaking to it. Instead of correcting Hishmith crits' misunderstanding, I let out the conclusions that were silently flowing in my mind. According to what the Wand of Ages said, not everyone is led to heaven upon death. If, like a burqa, one has no lingering attachment to the afterlife, or like Raviel, refuses to let go of the memories of their current life no matter what, they simply embrace death instead of reincarnating in heaven. The more I verbalized it, the more solid my thoughts became. Maybe it's because the inside of the mouth is hot and the outside is cold? The thoughts that were mushy and melting on the tongue also cooled down and solidified as they squeezed past the lips. Then,
Yo. So. Ha.
Must accept the concept of the world after death to eventually go to the heaven floor. Otherwise, like a burqa or Raviel, he would be categorized as one who simply accepts death when it comes, and he wouldn't meet the qualifications to be selected as the judge for the 76th floor. Snake looked at me. Fox also turned her head to look at me. Bei Hurayong's gaze as well. There might be more gazes looking down at me now, unseen by my eyes. That's exactly the problem. I said.
Yo. So. Ha.
Would never consider this place heaven. Asserting with certainty. Because even if he dies, he would wish to be reborn in the same world. Not because he likes the world he was born into. Quite the opposite. He doesn't even like other worlds. He doesn't think that if he changes, or the world changes, he'll become a better person. What's precious to him is only his body that he has owned so far, his life, his memories. As long as he can protect them, it doesn't matter what becomes of the world. I looked up at the sky. The clear blue sky. If he cannot protect them, no world can satisfy him. I said this towards the Wand of Ages, which would be observing my every move from the lobby. I object to your selection of the judge. There was no answer. If a burqa and Raviel were excluded from being judges, then by the same standards,
Ha!
cannot be a judge either. The reasons may be different, but the outcome is the same. He absolutely cannot accept a future where he reincarnates in heaven having lost his memories. Isn't that so? There was no answer. If I'm mistaken, please tell me. However, you won't be able to refute it. There was no answer. As himself said, I know him better than he knows himself. And then the Wand of Ages closes its eyes. The Wand of Ages fully accepts your objection. Buzz dash. The 76th floor stage is forcibly terminated. The world of blue sky, split apart. Chapter 358, Return to the Origin, 3. 4. Let's talk about the old days for a moment. When Director was young, instead of smartphones, staring blankly at the television was a child's pleasure, it is said. On TV, you couldn't choose whatever video you wanted freely. You watched whatever the broadcasting station played. Since broadcasting stations are places where people work, nothing is broadcasted during the times when people drift off to dreamland. It's just like a restaurant that doesn't operate 24 hours. Rest. Closed. There is certainly a stop, but its function does not operate. ZZZT. And when the television rests, it shows a strange screen. Black dots and white dots intertwine messily with a crackling sound. Flicker, flicker. As if machines' AIs are playing their own game of Go at high speed, black and white dots mix together. Dizzily. Dizzily, dizzily. ZZZT, ZZZT. That was the scene where I was standing now. The 76th stage has been forcibly terminated. The once blue sky had suddenly cracked open. From the split crevices, like the proliferation of mold, black and white vomit poured out. The sky was devoured first, then the humans wandering below the sky, and finally, the horizon was eaten away. ZZZZT. The sixth pillar, the Wand of Ages intervenes. The Wand of Ages wishes to maintain control of the stage. In the midst of a world where black and white fornicate, there was a wizard leaning on a lonely staff. One of the pillars operating this tower. It was the Wand of Ages. That's an interesting story you're telling. Death King. The wizard looked at me. So, you just said, my choice was wrong? Who is suitable to be the judge of this layer of heaven? Who is willingly able to judge pass or fail for you? Considering all of that, my choice of as the judge, my judgment was wrong? Yes. The wizard's pupils were like water in which a knife was soaked, silvery. I did not avoid the gaze of the silver blade aimed at me. Even if he were to face death, he would never wish to be reincarnated here. The wizard did not answer immediately. Press. After a long time, the wizard gripped his staff tightly. Maybe there's some merit to your words. However, what about here? the wizard raised his long staff high. And with all his might, he slammed it down on the ground. The Wand of Ages manifests its power. Whoosh! Centered around the spot hit by the staff, waves arose. White waves. The white waves instantly became violent torrents, driving away the blackness that was devouring various places in this world. At the same time, the Wand of Ages is teleporting you. The world of crackling noise was transformed. You have entered the 77th stage. You set foot in a place where you originally could not enter. This place is machine heaven. Was it magic cast by the Wand of Ages? We were floating in the air. Dazzlingly far below was a splendid future city. The skyscrapers rose smoothly without a single pillar or joint, and buildings were connected like neurons in the brain. The pathways draped like spiderwebs between skyscrapers constantly emitted light. In this world, countless mechanical dolls live. If I were to borrow your terminology, they are NPCs. In the future city, numerous people were bustling about. If what the wizard told me is correct, the vast majority of them are NPCs. That is, they are not hunters who have been reincarnated with souls. The constellation of this world, the god of machinery, controls millions of mechanical dolls. Of course, humans reincarnated here are unaware of such facts. NPCs too believe they are just like themselves, humans. Naturally, the dolls controlled by the god of machinery are vividly indistinguishable from humans. And then, the dolls always lose to humans at life's decisive moments. A boxing-like match was being shown on the city's electronic display. Humans reincarnated here always win against the dolls. So cunningly that they never realize the dolls deliberately lose to them. No, they never notice that the people who lost to them were actually just dolls. Thump! A boxer with red gloves knocked his opponent down. Wow! Cheers from the audience could be heard beyond the display. The boxer with blue gloves staggered into a corner, and the red player aggressively pushed his opponent. Those reborn here lead a life of constant success. Even when crises that seem like defeats loom, they ultimately win. The sweetness of victory. The confidence of having overcome life's challenges. All these joys are gifts prepared by the god of machinery solely for humans. Eventually, the red player's uppercut landed squarely. Boom! The blue player couldn't stand and fell on the ring. The referee hurriedly ran over to separate the two players, but a bright certainty of victory, the joy of having won, was already smeared on the face of the red player. It's a game. A kind of play. A game where one always receives victory. But the suspicion that I am being treated never arises. One can't help but believe that they've earned every victory through their own merit. How about it, Death King? Doesn't this place perfectly fit as
Yo! So, ha!
heaven? Roar. The red player roared. The referee grabbed his wrist and raised it high. The red player, intoxicated with his victory, howled like a gorilla, and the audience responded to him. An even louder cheer rewarded him. I'll admit you know.
Yo! So, ha!
Well. From the sky dyed with cheers, the wizard softly said.
Yeah.
Maybe I made a mistake once. Sorry. It's the administrator's responsibility. As an apology, I'll acknowledge that you've automatically cleared the 76th floor. So now, let's proceed to capturing the 77th floor. How long can you keep doing this? What? I narrowed my eyes. Those who wanted to abandon the world from the outside entered the tower. Those who want to abandon the world of the tower, go to one of the heavenly layers prepared from the 71st to the 79th floors. Is that the end? What if the souls that arrived here want to abandon the world once more? Then, will you create another heaven of heavens? Build a tower within a tower, and again a tower within that tower, stacking it up forever to 100 floors, 1,000 floors, 10,000 floors, 100,000 floors, 1,000,000 floors? The wizard bit his lip. The wand of ages is teleporting you. The staff the wizard was tightly holding trembled. You have entered the 78th stage. You set foot in a place where you originally could not enter. How about this place? The world changed again. A tranquil yet fulfilling village by the seaside unfolded. People were paired up, peacefully engaging in conversation or enjoying meals. This place is twin heavens. Here, everyone can find their destined partner. Even those who did not meet their fate in their previous life, here, they are bound to meet and be together forever. There's no end. I said this to deflect the blade in the wizard's eyes with the sword in my voice. The wand of ages. I now understand your identity. You are probably the judge of the afterlife, akin to the king of hell, deciding which layer of heaven the souls that died in the tower will go to. The difference might be that you never sentence them to hell. The voice of the tower rang in my head. You have seen through the identity of the wand of ages. The wand of ages activates its privilege as a pillar. Your memories related to the pillar are distorted. Failed. All actions attempting to distort your memories fail. Foxnim was wrapped around my neck like a scarf. I nodded my head and continued to glare at the wizard in front of me. The judge who decides and distributes all the souls that have died in the tower. You have made 2 critical errors. Errors, what do you mean? The tower never forces people from the outside world to come here. That's a decision for people to make on their own. Whether the world of the tower suits them. Whether they really want to abandon the outside world once and for all. The hunters living here have come by making that decision on their own. I said emphatically. But you did not ask for their consent. You didn't ask the crusader if she would choose this heaven if she died. You just decided on your own that the musical heaven would suit the crusader best. The same goes for the count, venomous snake, heretic questioner, alchemist, and
Yo. So. Ha!
You summoned them without asking anything. But there's an even worse mistake. That is, the people who go to the layers of heaven you manage, completely forget their past lives. So what? They are souls that chose to leave the world for a heaven that would make them happy. There's no need to remember the unwanted memories, the things related to the world they have abandoned. We did not choose to be born into the outside world. However, but the tower is a world we chose. It is a world we were born into because we wanted to. It is the world we decided to come to. Unlike the outside world where we just fell without knowing anything, we chose to come here. That is why the tower has meaning. I took a step forward. Had the wizard's magic been undone? For a moment, my foot lost weight in the air and almost fell. But I quickly utilized aura to create an invisible stepping stone. Walking on air. The sky could no longer mean falling to me. And you made them lose the memories they chose.
Ugh.
The layers of heaven you manage have erased the meaning that the tower barely managed to create. It's the same. You've just rebuilt the same world as the outside, inside the tower. I said, standing in the sky. You are not fit to be the judge of heaven. The wand of ages hissed. Just because you have a mouth, doesn't mean you should spout nonsense. Yes. And it's not over yet. I looked up at the sky.
Yo. So. Ha!
ZZZT dash. You must be listening. You choose. You decide. Whether there is a layer of heaven among the 76th, 77th, and 78th floors that you willingly wish to go to, as judged by the Wand of Ages. And whether the Wand of Ages is qualified as a judge. Or else. The sky crackled and opened a gap. Or else, tell them to get lost. Whether the lion world, the world where you are alive, where I am alive, is your world. If you die, tell us if it's the place you wish to be reborn in. So decide who is right between the Wand of Ages and me. What will you give me? The same noise peeked through the opened gap in the sky as before. White and black dots were noisily flickering. From there,
Yo! So? Ha!
S voice flowed out. Choosing barehanded like this doesn't seem right. I don't understand it all, but you're in a contest with that pillar or whatever, aren't you? You're asking me to take your side. Then, this too is a deal. Tell me what you'll give me. This fucking realist asshole. After getting killed once by some damn punk, I started to take care of reality too. I gritted my teeth. But between my teeth, it wasn't a grinding sound that flowed out but laughter. Crazy bastard. I laughed. You were like that even before you got fucked by me, you bastard.
Yo! So? Ha!
That's the kind of guy you are. A guy who prefers this life even if he rolls in a field of dog poop, and even if this life is like dog poop, as long as his memories of living remain, he's the type to flip off the whole world. A man who can't and won't go to heaven. A human who would tell the afterlife or whatever to get lost if it doesn't bring him pleasure in his current life. I'll do the Cossack dance for you. I shouted with a damn laugh. It doesn't matter if it's a day, 2 days, or a week. I'll show you my dance moves until you tell me to stop. I'll dance 10, 20 times more than the time you dance, you damn bastard. Tell heaven to get lost and keep living in my world. The sky was silent for a moment. It sounds like not a bad world. Before the Wand of Ages could contort its expression, the judge had already raised a hand in my favor. Deal. Warning tones embroidered the consciousness. The 76th stage will be forcibly terminated. The 77th stage will be forcibly terminated. The 78th stage will be forcibly terminated. Really? The moment the Wand of Ages, holding its forehead, spat out curses. These damn brats. The tower's declaration fell. An objection has been raised that the Wand of Ages is unfit as a pillar. Confirmation is requested from Zrakwa. Confirmation impossible. The question exceeds the authority of the tower. It was a declaration I hadn't heard in a long time. The tower reconfirms the question. Passed. The issue raised is currently valid. The tower formally acknowledges the Death King's issue as an agenda. And then, the tower requests a majority vote among the 6 pillars of Mansing, 10,000 lives. White and black sands once again covered my sight. Chapter 359, The Sky That Gathers Screams, 1. This isn't the first time. I have met with the pillars several times before. I had attended a meeting where the pillars were present. So when the voice of the tower whispered, a majority decision meeting is requested to the 6 pillars, I was not particularly surprised. Please rise, Death King. I would wake up in the dark underworld again. That's what I thought. Do you intend to lie down like this? I advise you to get up. I want you to regain your senses and show respect first. Until then, I have no intention of inviting the Duke here. A familiar voice rang in my ears. I blinked my eyelids. Little by little, my vision cleared. It was like a car windshield dirted with yellow dust being wiped clean by a wiper. There, a beauty with delicate eyebrows stood in black. Have you finally opened your eyes? I had no choice but to call her a beautiful person. She was looking down at me with her head bowed. Distinctive eye lines. Indifferent pupils. Lips that were just closed, free from any stubbornness, obsession, or self-display. As if to reject and push away everything that has turned white and gray in this world, she was dressed in pure black. Somewhere. Definitely, I have seen that dress, lips, and pupils somewhere before. I paused for a moment to recall the name of this darkness. Gu-1.
Ha!
Advisor? She nodded her head. Yes. That is one of my aliases. The movement of her jaw made no sound. Perhaps that's why. It seemed like for a very moment even gravity, a single point of air, was absent around her moving jaw. It would not be correct to greet you for the first time. Death King. I have heard from the Duke that you possessed my body, albeit briefly.
Ah.
That's right. I had been to the world of Tower Master Amethyst, to a certain kingdom. Although it was a visit within trauma. At that time and place, I had possessed someone. The woman standing in front of me, neatly clasping her hands. It was Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
I had become her. That's why, upon seeing this woman of darkness, I felt a sense of déjà vu. My Duke is indebted to you. Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
Bowed. The person Gu-1,
Ha!
referred to as Duke, must be the Kaleidoscope Duke. Another alias for the Tower Master.
Ah.
Yes. No, not at all. I felt a strange sensation. To face the face that was once me head-on. But why are you? I will call you Baron. Why is the Baron welcoming me? I was called out for the meeting of the pillars. I heard you were very quick-witted. Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
Straightened her back and tilted her head. Does my voice not remind you of anything? Oh. I did think it sounded familiar. Somehow. Then, it would be easier for you to understand if I explain it directly. Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
Quietly looked at me. That was the moment. Test. Playing the voice. This message does not carry any additional meaning other than playing the voice. I was taken aback. My mouth fell open. What? What? Let me formally introduce myself once again. Unaffected by my astonishment, Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
Bowed her head. I am a family retainer of the Kaleidoscope Duke's family, belonging to the affiliated doors, the second advisor, a noble who was bestowed the 11th cup by the Sun King, Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
My real name is Mia. Please, call me Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
The voice that flowed from beneath the bowed head was completely identical to the voice I had heard countless times while climbing the tower, the so-called voice of the tower. 2. No, wait a moment. I stumbled over my words. Even after hearing a long self-introduction from Baron Gu-1.
Ha!
Honestly, there was only one thought that came to mind. The voices coming from the tower are not something that runs automatically by the system, could it possibly be? Yes. It's manual.
What?
It was shocking. Manual? All of it? But I'm not the only hunter who hears the voice of the tower. There are so many. Every hunter hears a voice when they learn a skill or advance through a stage, and that's. Everything is done manually. That's impossible. Well, actually, it makes sense. Baron Gu-1 remained expressionless throughout. The flow of time in your world and here is different. From your perspective, it's as if time stands still here. Death King. Even if events occur simultaneously for you, for me, it's just a matter of dealing with them one by one. It seems like you'd have to respond to hunters thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of times a day. That's correct. The Baron tilted her head as if it was nothing. Is there a problem? If anything, it was nothing but problems. The epitome of inefficiency. Inefficiency arises only when time and space are limited. Here, we can control time as we wish and observe other worlds as much as we want. The concept of inefficiency does not exist. Don't you get tired? It's work for the Duke. There's no reason to be tired. It seemed sincere. Incredible. What's important now is not the story of my work, Death King. First, please dress yourself properly. Only then did I properly look around. Just as Baron Guwanha's face was familiar to me, the place where I had opened my eyes was extremely familiar. The Grand Council Chamber of the Kingdom. The very place where all the nobles gathered to discuss, where I had been when I possessed Baron Guwanha. Why here? Weren't the pillars supposed to gather in a dark underworld for their meetings? I will explain shortly. So, please dress properly first. Even if you personally know the Duke, as long as I am here, you must show proper respect. I cannot let you meet the Duke in your current state. My appearance? What's wrong with my clothes? They are vulgar. Baron Guwanha scrutinized me from head to toe. Naturally, my current outfit was Anastasia fashion. That is, a black leather outfit. I couldn't refute, so I averted my gaze. But this is quite an expensive outfit. How much is it? You said it was expensive. If you don't mind, how much is it? I told her the price as I had heard from Anastasia. Baron Guwanha heard the price of the outfit and lightly nodded her head. Then, she picked up a set of clothes laid out on the desk and handed it to me. I awkwardly received the clothes. This is? It's about 120 times more expensive than that. Please change into it. I obediently changed. This is the situation room that monitors all towers. While I was awkwardly changing clothes, Baron Guwanha, with her back turned, spoke softly. We modeled it after the kingdom's Grand Council chamber. It only looks the same but is a completely different space. From your perspective. Yes. This could be considered the basement level 1 of the tower. Basement level 1. I asked while slipping my left foot into my trousers. Is there a basement level 2 by any chance? There isn't. Rest assured, there will absolutely not be an event after you break through the 100th floor where, in fact, there were from basement level 1 to basement level 100, and our true adventure starts now. Congratulations, the saga of the Death King Part 2 begins, celebration occurs, so please be at ease. I had never even thought of such a horrible thing, but somehow it feels like a story that could actually exist. How terrifying is that? It would be an event that could set my soul on fire and burn the entire world to ashes. Are you done changing? Yes. I've finished changing. Excuse me then. Baron Guwanha turned around. She scrutinized me, now dressed in a kingdom-style outfit. Hunters, under normal circumstances, can never set foot here, in basement level 1. The same applies to the constellations. Even if by 1 in 10 million chance someone did manage to enter, those without the proper qualifications would only see pitch darkness. That would have been your experience too, Death King. But now, you have temporarily obtained the qualifications. This is the first time such an event has occurred since the tower was established. Baron Guwanha looked down at the serpent wrapped around my wrist. I'm sorry, but you are the only one with the qualifications. The activities of the snake living in the labyrinth, a music box only for you, goddess of protection, and sword emperor, have been suspended. We appreciate your understanding for security reasons. So that's why everyone has been quiet since I arrived here. Fortunately, the outfit suits you well. Was the outfit check done? Baron Guwonha took a step back, looked me over, and then nodded. With this, there is no lack in your presentation to meet the Duke. I've heard rumors that I can pull off any fashion. Then, let us commence the meeting. Baron Guwonha didn't give me a chance to enter my nonsense time and clapped her hands with a snap. Creak dash. The main doors of the conference hall opened. As if waiting by the door, figures walked out. Participants are being confirmed. Participants are being confirmed. The same voice overlapped twice, simultaneously. Baron Guwonha held her chin high and looked directly at those entering through the main door. She called out to each of them one by one. The fifth pillar, the lady who walks the mirage, is present. The fifth pillar, the lady who walks the mirage, is present. The first to enter was the lady, the pillar most favorable to me. Her hair, which seemed like gold, had given half of itself to white, swayed, and the lady smiled broadly. Then, she excitedly waved at me. If I were to compare her to an animal, perhaps a chick. Hello, Death King. Long time no see. How have you been, Dash? I'm sorry, but miss, please keep quiet. Advisor Mia. That's mean. The lady pouted her lips. Baron Guwon, without blinking, continued to call the next entrance. The fourth pillar, the moon contemplating blindness, is present. The fourth pillar, the moon contemplating blindness, is present. A pillar with a very indifferent face, as if they would find everything from the beginning to the end of the universe bothersome, entered the hall. If I were to liken them to an animal, it would be a sea otter. The third pillar, the one who wrote the beginning, is present. The third pillar. The one who wrote the beginning is present. A pillar who seemed to have tasted every flavor from the beginning to the end of life, from bitterness to sweetness to spicy, plus mint chocolate, and now just wanted to have fun, lazily moved with a slime-like gait. If compared to an animal, perhaps a hedgehog. The second pillar, the god who dances in the void, is present. The second pillar. The god who dances in the void is present. Regardless of whether the world is born or destroyed, as long as their own interests are preserved. What? Entering through the main door, their steps were not normal but rather like they were performing ballet. No, actually performing a 100% pure ballet, and even after entering, they continued to dance. What? No, seriously, what could it be? If likened to an animal, it would be an African flamingo. The sixth pillar, the Wand of Ages, is present. The sixth pillar, the Wand of Ages, is present. A wizard who, upon being born, would likely sigh thinking it's just being born, and upon dying, would sigh realizing it's indeed dying, accepting various events in their life with just a sigh, glanced at me briefly. If compared to an animal, perhaps an old lion. And then, thud, footsteps resounded. Welcome, Duke. As the 5 pillars entered, Baron Guwon, who had been merely watching with an expressionless face, slowly bowed her head. She bent her waist. She lowered her head in respect. I apologize for requesting a meeting amidst your busy schedule. It was a distinctly different attitude. Unlike when welcoming the other pillars, Baron Guwon did not use the voice of the tower. She did not send a message. Using only her own voice, she directly worshipped the owner of the footsteps. I have convened the meeting according to the regulations you previously commanded, but the justification for this assembly is entirely for the Duke to judge. It's fine. It looks quite legitimate, doesn't it? As always, reliable work, my advisor. Yes. Thank you. The Tower Master. A noble with platinum hair, familiar to me as Amethyst, capable of wearing any expression and mimicking any voice in this world, known by the alias of Kaleidoscope Duke, smiled brightly at me. And the owner of the tower, maintaining the dignity of a noble here, greeted me. Hi. Death King. Nice to see you. Huh? Your reaction is a bit light. I heard this was the latest greeting method. Wasn't it? Hiam? Hying? Hiyo? Yum. Hello, hello? No. You, no, thou. Sighs flowed from everywhere. Baron Gu won.
Ha!
Sighed, the Wand of Ages had been sighing all along, and the other pillars joined the new wave of sighs as if they knew this would happen. A bountiful harvest of sighs. Mom. That's not it. Only the lady, instead of sighing, frowned and firmly corrected. It's hi, nice to.
See ya.
Here, the hi is in English, so from a Korean perspective, it's the English hi. But since this is the English translation, it doesn't make any difference. The used after that translates as nice to.
See ya.
Which is old Korean slang used in the 1990s.
Ah.
I see. Thank you, my daughter. Yep. I'll gladly accept Mom's thanks. From now on, make sure to use what I taught you without mixing it up. Tower Master Amethyst turned to look at me. And she greeted me with an extremely graceful motion. Let me greet you again, Death King. Hi, nice to.
See ya.
Where did you sell your final boss aura? And that's definitely not the latest greeting method.